Hey, my name is Jared Moon, and I'm part of a group of underground athletes you've probably never even heard of before. We don't rely on fancy equipment for training, and most of us don't even have gym memberships. In fact, our motivation comes from within. You see, we have jobs, families, and responsibilities, but we still have big goals, and they aren't getting achieved at a global gym. For that reason, we have to do things differently. Our training has to be smarter. We don't have every piece of equipment known to man or a ton of time to train, and we don't need it, because we are achieving amazing things without it. So how do we do it? If you ask your average personal trainer or gym goer, they'd call us crazy. Yet we're seeing results better than most every single day. And it's happening by blending mental training with physical training and becoming an athlete. What we call, and welcome to, Garage Gym Athlete.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Garage Gym Athlete Podcast. Jared Moon here. With me is Joe Courtney. What's up, Joe?
Hey, man.
And we have Michael Richwein. How you doing, man?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man. So give us a basic intro. Who you are, what you do for a living, how you train, all that good stuff.
Yeah. Again, my name is Michael Richwein. I'm just outside of Boston, so about 20 minutes out of Boston here. I am a stone sales rep. What that means is I work for a company. We do countertop fabrication, and I sell granite. That's my day job. I'm a youth pastor and a football coach as well. So a little bit of my background and then how I train. I train in my basement, and I love every bit of it.
That's awesome, man. So Boston, pretty cold?
This time of year, yes, it's actually warmed up quite a bit. We're at about a whopping 40 today, which is it's almost summer here for us.
Shorts and a t-shirt, man. And then how does the basement do in the weather?
Yeah, it's not bad. I do a lot of barefoot training, so the floor is cold in the winters, but I feel like I get better traction there. Warms up in the winter. I'm sorry, in the summer, but it's not bad.
And why the barefoot training?
Yeah, I mean, I got so accustomed to barefoot training for a little while, doing a lot of mobility, and I do most of my speed work barefoot as well. Feel like I get better traction. I typically would lift in lifters, and I felt as they were creating a crutch in my training and my squat pattern, and I couldn't get into a good position without them anymore. So I moved to the barefoot that I could be a little bit more well-rounded, mobile, and be able to get into some of those patterns without needing assistance, I guess.
I like that, man. Really cool. Yeah, I've done a lot of barefoot stuff in the past, and if I'm ever in a situation where like I have to squat and all I have are like running shoes on, I'm gonna pick barefoot over that every time. It's way better, more stability. So what do you have in the basement, man? What kind of setup you have going on?
Yeah, I use two rooms really. It's a little bedroom that's really turned into the weight area. So there's a weight bench in there, just a bench press, if you will, that I utilize that for a squat rack as well. And then in the door frame, I have a pull-up bar. And then on the other side, I have concrete wall. I have a medicine ball. I have my weight vest, jump rope, a bunch of bands. It's makeshift, about as makeshift as it comes, but it serves the purpose.
Perfect, man. But it sounds awesome.
Yes, sir.
And what was the big reason behind starting your basement gym?
Yeah, honestly, it was kind of by default. There was a point in my college life where I had lost my license, and I kind of had to move into the basement for a little bit there, and I fell in love with it. I love the accountability. I love the solitude, the isolation, if you will, and kind of been back and forth in there ever since. So that's been about 7 or 8 years now.
Oh, wow.
That's crazy, man. And so you've been doing it for a while. So I'm going to jump to what keeps you going? How do you keep going year after year training? I'm guessing primarily alone, unless you do bring in training partners, but what keeps you going?
Yeah, I mean, part of it is relationships. I do probably 95% of my time spend training alone, but I bounce around. So one of my buddies works at a CrossFit gym, so I'll kick over there once in a while, or I'll hit local commercial gym as well with other friends. And there's still a community, but not in the sense that I would look for. It really is, it's innate. I saw a phrase on a wall when I was coaching high school football, and it said, "Character is who you are when no one is watching." And that stuck with me. It resonated well. And I love the character development and the accountability that you establish on your own, in your own lane, your own place. You have no one else. It's just you, yourself, a barbell, and what have you.
Yeah. And what's your schedule look like right now as far as when you can train and how much time you can devote to training?
Yeah, I train in the morning, first thing in the morning, and that's that's part of it too. Is I do love that isolation so much that I'll get my training in the beginning of my day as my cell phone's not blowing up off the hook. I have no one talking to me. There's no competition for certain areas in the gym, or I don't have to wait for a platform or the turf area as well. I'm able to do it on my own without having to combat those different idiosyncrasies. So first thing in the morning, and then working 9 to 5 with some flexibility within it. So I can train afterwards as well, which I do, but my schedule varies in the afternoon. So I want to get it in and out of the way.
That's great, man. And so you've been with us for about 3 months. What are you enjoying about the training?
Yeah, certain challenges within it. One of the things that my friend that owns a CrossFit or works at the CrossFit gym, I was expressing some frustration where I was getting a little stale. And I played college football, played high school football. So most of my training regimen has always just been football oriented, weight pattern. I mean, some of the same patterns, same movements for the last 10 years. Got old. And he challenged me. I used to be a strength and conditioning coach for 4.5 years. And he challenged me to let someone else write my programs for me. And that's when I came across you guys. And I spoke with you, Jared, a little bit about it, but the community that you guys have developed has been it's been revolutionary and game changing for me, because I thought I was a lone wolf. I thought I was in this thing alone. But to know that there's a whole community of people that are doing the same thing is very encouraging. So I stumbled across you guys, and I love the challenges within it. You guys have things programmed in there that I would never think of, that I've fallen in love with, certain things like ruck runs and other variations. So it keeps things fresh and entertaining as well.
That's awesome, man. I'm glad that you're enjoying it and embracing it. You know, some people see something new and they're like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. Especially with someone as much experience as you, you know, they might be like, yeah, I'm not going to do that today. But, you know,
yeah.
I'm glad that you're fully, and that's the thing that you have to do when someone else is going to write your programming, is just be like, okay, I'm out of it. You know, I'm going to let someone else do it and see how it goes.
And that was part of it for me, was being a coach. I used to get irritated if some of my athletes and my students wouldn't follow the program, follow the routine. I'm like, you don't trust me? And I'm sure you guys have seen that as well. So I'm like, I'm giving you my trust, knowing that you guys know what you're talking about. And I want to maintain the integrity of as much of it as I can, given certain limitations and restrictions, just equipment wise. But other than that, I mean, you have my trust, and I want to be all in with it.
I appreciate that, man. And so you've been with us for a little while. You're kind of doing your own thing in the basement. Did your fitness journey start before the last 7 to 8 years that you've been in your basement? What were you doing back then? Was it, because I don't know how old you are, so I don't know where that would start, but what were you doing 7 to 8 years ago, pre garage gym, basement gym?
Yeah. It was always high school, college football. So there was always a big aspect of my life. Prior to graduation, I was going to school for sociology. I didn't know what I was going to do with it, but I just fell in love with fitness. And I figured if I could do what I love, I wouldn't work a day in my life. So I pursued fitness as a career. So, I mean, I was in and out of different commercial gyms. I was in and out of private strength and conditioning facilities, sports performance facilities, kind of bouncing around for the most part. But when I found something I liked, I would settle in it.
That's awesome. Awesome, man. All right. So did you ever dabble in CrossFit or anything like that? I just curious, out of curiosity. Most people hit it at some point. If that, with your kind of background and like being interested in everything you've been interested, you mentioned your buddy, so I'd love to know what you've done there.
Yeah. I guess I didn't understand CrossFit, so I didn't support it. But then, as I said, my friend who works at the CrossFit facility in town, he was also an exercise science major, and he and I connected, and we got to pick each other's brains. I'd shadow him. He'd come to the gym I was at. He'd shadow me, and we learned from each other. And I realized how knowledgeable he was. So I gave him, again, my trust. And I would frequent some of their classes. I'd drop in every once in a while, or we'd do a individual thing where 4 or 5 of us would go in and we just get a lifting together and just hang. And I still do that probably maybe once or twice a month, if not more. But I developed a respect and a love for it, certainly, but it's pricey.
Yeah, right. For sure, man. Now, I feel like you've probably mastered this a little bit more than some others who may be getting started training alone. But what would you say your biggest struggle is right now in getting the work done, or is it a struggle?
Yeah, I mean, there's been times. There's been times where it's been difficult to pull deep from within and get that motivation, of course, and especially at 5 o'clock in the morning. But I think I'm over that hump, and I'm excited to train every day. Now
That's
I'd
awesome.
say more than that. It's certainly like today was a heavy lift day. It was triples and doubles of back squat, deads. On the back squats, I'm doing doubles in my basement at 5 in the morning, and I got no one spotting me. So
Right.
you got to stand up with the weight.
Yeah.
I'd say that's probably my biggest struggle right now is just not having an eye, not having a spotter, just in case I can't get out of the hole or whatever that looks like.
Yeah, man, we get some sawhorses down there or something. I know I've failed on mine more than a few times.
Yeah.
Because it got to the point where I never had a power rack with like bars or anything really. And so I got to the point where I just stopped kind of pushing myself on the squat. I'd always leave like probably 5 to 15 pounds in the tank. And
Yeah.
then I don't always take it to failure, but if I'm really feeling it, I'll throw those sawhorses open and fail. And it's never fun, but they'll save your life. So
Absolutely.
all right, man. So I'm guessing you enjoy training in your basement or else you wouldn't be doing it. What would you say, you mentioned training twice a day. What would you say your biggest focus or goal area is right now?
Yeah, that one was tough for me. When I saw the questions I'd been thinking about that for a little while, and I guess one lane I would say is that having a collegiate athlete, I always had something to train for. It took me a little while to reestablish that, or at least craft something new to train for. And I tried training for health and training for aesthetics, and you get bored of that quick. I'd say my goal now would be to live a life of longevity for one, but for two, to be able to compete in any avenue or any lane, whatever that looks like. So if that's in a CrossFit gym, if that's in a boxing ring, I box a little bit with a friend of mine. But if that's boxing, if it's picking up the pigskin and throwing the ball around on the turf, I just want to be able to compete in every avenue. And that's going to be directly correlated to my fitness level and my ability to move well.
Great, man. So being ready for anything at any time, I like it. I might as well get that tattooed on my forearm or something. That's exactly how I feel.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the hardest workout you've ever done?
I think that one's I think that's relative, right, to our fitness level. There's been workouts that I've done that weren't necessarily grueling workouts, but they were difficult for me at the time. I was out of my peak fitness, so they certainly affected me more than they should have. I've done other workouts where my fitness level was a lot stronger at the point, and I was able to power through certain ones. I'd say, and hear me in this, I'd say it was the Iron Mile a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
And it was a Saturday morning that I was not supposed to work. I had going into work, and I was in more of a rush than usual, so I didn't read the full description of the workout, and I tried to do the first half of the Iron Mile in walking lunges. And I learned real quick, I'm like, this dude has got to be out of his mind. And I put the barbell down, I went over to my phone, I read the description, it was like walk I'm like, where did I see lunge in this? So I picked the barbell back up. I finished the Iron Mile without the lunges, but I did a good quarter to a third of it in walking lunges. My quads were smoked for 3-4 days after that.
And did you have weight on the bar? Or were you?
Yeah, I was working at about 95 pounds.
Man, 95 pounds. That would be, we might have to come up with that one, Joe. So 95 pounds, 1 mile walking lunges. That's
making some bad ideas.
It was miserable.
This guy's got to be out of his mind. That's awesome.
Yeah. Next Saturday we have Half Mile for Humanity. So
yeah,
you primed yourself for that one.
Good. That's awesome.
I mean, in your opinion, what's the best activity for building mental toughness?
Yeah, I'm kind of bummed out because I heard somebody else you guys had interviewed recently. He had this response, and I don't want to be cliche or repetitive, but he said silence, and that resonated with me because I believe it really is. We live in a culture, society that is so technologically stuck, I'd say, and we're overstimulated at all points in time. So if we ever have a point where we're sitting in silence, the only thing we can do is combat with our mind, and that's scary as frick sometimes. So I did that a couple of weeks ago. My music died on actually it was the first mile of the Murph run in the snow on a rock, and my music died, and I had to finish the whole workout without music, and I was like, this is grindy. All I had was me, myself, and my thoughts, and most of those thoughts were I wanted to quit.
Right.
So that certainly builds mental toughness. I'll be able to dig down deep and pull that innate inspiration and motivation outside of yourself.
I like that, man. I really do. All right, now if you could only have one piece of equipment to train with for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Yeah, cliche, but I would say barbell. I love the barbell. Grew up with a barbell. Was heavy into Olympic lifting for a couple of years while I was coaching. I think there's so many things you can do with it. It's definitely the barbell.
Awesome.
If you could add something to your basement, what would it be for working out?
Again, somewhat cliche is I would love a rower. I'm looking into buying a couple of knockoff rowers instead of a Concept 2, just to start. But I'd say if I go a non-cliche direction, could I say a remodel of the basement for more space, more area?
Yeah. I mean, definitely.
We had a guy say 30 to 40 acres. So
I'd love something like that. Turf spread, a little bit more height in the ceilings. Something like that would give me a little bit more room to play around with.
Awesome. All right, man. So a lot of athletes out there listening to this, what would be your best advice for garage gym athletes out there?
Yeah, I would say, I was thinking about this one long and hard as well, but I would say to find your why. If you have a why, I have it in my phone. It's my alarm clock. Actually, it says that it's my alarm clock goes off at 3:50 in the morning, and it says that it says that your excuses may be difficult, but your why has to be stronger, something along those lines. But I believe that if we have a why that is stronger than any excuse or circumstance or situation that presents itself, it can never deter us. So if you have a why ingrained and embedded within you, that's going to help you to power through or work through whatever capacity you can.
Love it. All right, Michael, I really appreciate you taking the time to do this, man, and being on the podcast, and also for being one of our athletes and getting after each and every single day. So thanks for being on the show.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for having me, for all that you guys do. Much appreciated.